Hi there, it's Stavina, and I am here in my Master Control Light Cycle t-shirt. It glows in the dark. And today I'm going to be bringing you back to my kitchen to show you how to make sort of instant biscuit mix. Not quite Bisquick, not quite Krusteaz, but it's gonna be really good. It's gonna be homemade. But first, as with my last recipe, I like to give you the real estimate of time. And I need to clean my countertops, clean up my sink, put some things away, sweep the floor. I tell you, nothing will make you more aware of the breadcrumbs on your kitchen floor than walking around it in bare feet. So I'm gonna definitely sweep up the floor, and yeah, I will let you know how long that takes. It is 7:55, so after a little bit of a cleaning break, putting up my hair, putting on an apron, and getting all of those ingredients together, I'll let you know how we are on time. Usually that would have been faster, but I had to turn off the camera because I was about ready to just lose it because I couldn't find one of the ingredients that I knew I had. I had bought it. What I had done with it? I had put it into an unlabeled jar. My bad. So there's two main brands of pre-made biscuit mix. There's Bisquick, super popular, and then there's Krusteaz, also popular. Now, both of them figured out a way that you could make a pre-made biscuit mix so that all you would have to do is add water. And then they realized it wasn't selling as well in the home market because the cooks didn't feel like they were getting to do very much. So they changed the recipe in Bisquick so that you have to add an egg and milk, sometimes an oil, but usually just eggs and milk. But Krusteaz stuck with the just add water. So if you're trying to make Bisquick, all you really need is some baking powder. If you have baking soda, you're also going to need to add in the powder cream of tartar. It's not a cream, it's a powder. I don't know why it's called cream of tartar, but if you've got baking powder, that has both the acid and the basic in it that will make the bubbles that make it nice and fluffy. You're going to need that. you're going to want to have all-purpose flour. You're going to want to have a shortening. Now you could use vegetable shortening, or this is powderized coconut oil. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. And I find that a little bit more shelf stable. Some people will put this mix into their refrigerator, but with the powder, it seems to be a little bit less likely to go rancid. And, you know, a little bit of salt. Let me get my salt over here. So once you have these four things, you've basically got Bisquick, but you're still going to have to add in eggs and milk. Now this is where some of these other ingredients come in. You can get powderized egg, or you can get egg replacement. If you live in a vegan household, egg replacement is kind of cool. It's got tapioca, potato starch, baking soda, so just the soda part of this, and psyllium husk fiber. I don't know what a psyllium is, but I know what a husk is and I know what fiber is. So this is a good choice to get that egginess into your biscuits. Or you could leave it out and just add in a real egg if the recipe calls for it. And then you can do a lot of interesting things with the dairy. I mean, you could do powdered milk for the dairy. You could do buttermilk and make buttermilk biscuit mix. So there's some variation that you can use in there to enhance your biscuits. Now, what kind of flour? Unbleached all-purpose flour. I use all-purpose, but you could go for a whole wheat flour. You could go for a variety of different things. I have even done half flour, half cornmeal, so that I have a cornbread mix. So all of these things are possibilities. It's just the proportions that we need to get down. So, 6 cups of whatever flour mix you're doing. That includes if you're going to use cornmeal or whatever, it's 6 cups of that. Then it's going to be 1 cup of your oil, whether it's Crisco or some vegetable oil, coconut oil, or even powderized oil, 1 cup of that. Then it's a 1/4 cup, so 1/4 cup of whatever milk and whatever egg. And then 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Just a pinch of salt. I don't use a ton of salt, but you do need the salt in there. So yeah, I'm gonna put all this stuff together and you'll see how it goes. We have a casualty. So I'm actually going to make a double batch. Now you could mix this by hand if you wanted to, but I just find using the mixer seems to be more thorough. So because it seems to be more thorough, I like to use the machine. So we're going to get this in and really slowly. If you crank it up too high, it'll end up, getting all over the place. So we're gonna just let this go a little bit and release it down. And that is gonna be mostly mixed. I mean, it's all just powder, maybe down a little bit at the bottom. There might be some that's unincorporated, but you know what, as I'm scooping it out, I'll give it a little bit of a twist. Now we have to put it where we want to keep it. Okay, how do we want to store this? If I had my choice, I would put it in a colored jar, Why a colored jar? Well, this has both milk powder in it and an oil powder in it. And both of those can be light sensitive. So putting it in a brown, blue, or green jar protects it a little bit from UV. But those colored jars don't often come in big sizes. So I'm gonna have to move up to a large canning jar like this one, or even a screw top jar like this one that's more decorative. Whatever it is, I want it to have a good air seal. Now, I do use this style of top for things like pastas, but I find that they don't often have a big enough opening for me to get my cup scoop in there. And that's another reason not to do the standard mason jars, because it's hard to fit a whole cup inside there. So it might end up being a decorative jar that you put this in. But as long as you put it up into a cabinet where there's no light, you should be fine. Batch, which means this container only can hold about, I want to say 10 cups, and I've got more than that hanging out there. So what I like to do when I've got a double batch is I actually mix up both double batches in separate bowls, because I don't have a bowl big enough for one. And then I alternate cups when I'm filling up things, and you'll see there's a slight striation in color here. That's just where one of my batches, or maybe even both, wasn't fully incorporated. But by the time that I'm scooping it out of here, it should be fairly well incorporated. Now, I'm gonna see what of this I can fit into these smaller ones. This isn't dirt, this is just some cornstarch that I had in there. I just hadn't quite gotten to washing it yet. The cornstarch isn't gonna hurt this recipe because there's cornstarch already in some of the oil. No, not the oil. The egg has some cornstarch in it, and I think some of the powdered milk also does, to keep it from clumping together. So that's not gonna hurt. So I'm gonna put it in there, then fill up, and then whatever's left, I think I'm gonna make waffles. Even if you don't can, I think everyone should have a canning funnel for when you need to get something from a cup size into something that's narrower than a cup size. All right, the time now is 8:53. Remember, I spent a little bit too much time searching for an ingredient that I had lost, but you know, that really does happen. And my kitchen looks like something out of the scene of Scarface. Whew, so I'm gonna clean up all this mysterious white powder that's all around my kitchen, get out my waffle iron, make some waffles for breakfast. Okay, a little bit of an intermission there, but it's been decided it's gonna be eggs and mushroom gravy on top of these waffles. So first I gotta make the waffle. Half cup one, half cup two, and half cup three. This has a strong coconut smell because of the coconut oil that's in it. So if you wanted to do macadamia nuts and Nutella, or combo in some more coconut by putting a coconut cream or a coconut syrup on top, that would all be very good. I need to get a whisk. Okay, now this is showing me it's going to be about a scone or a biscuit consistency, so more water for a waffle. So for a scone or a biscuit, it's 3 powder to 1 liquid. Okay, this is looking more like muffin zone. So muffin is a 3-2. Let's see where we are with a 1-1. Actually, 1-1, it's more batter-like, but not as battery as I like it for my waffles. 4 water to 3 powder. Is this going to make it the nice loose waffle consistency that I want? Yes. This is about pancake level of batter. And I can use this in my waffle maker. So I'm going to have to write that down. I'll give you the notes. As promised, here come the notes for how to incorporate water to the biscuit mix to get different results. You can go to the end of the video and I've got a lovely little screenshot of all the different proportions. You can copy that out into your recipe book or take a screenshot and print it. So don't worry, this will show up several times. To start off, if you have 1.5 cups of mix and 1/2 cup water, you can add sugar, spices, and salt to taste and get a dry crumble that can be a streusel crust or a crumble topping. It's a little bit too dry to do anything else, but I find that adding in some sugar to it will make a nice little streusel topping for on top of a pie or a crumble. Then, if you use 1.5 cups of mix and add in a full cup of water, plus sugar or salt or spices to taste, you can do dry dough for drop biscuits, scones, cookies, or dumplings. Cookies you would add in sugar. Scones you might add in some extra sugar as well. But dumplings you could put in some salt and black pepper and make those really savory if you wanted to. So those are all some options for you. Then if you do 1.5 cups of mix plus 1.5 cups of water, or 1-to-1 ratio, you can get a wet dough. That's more for muffins or a quick cake batter. I would definitely add sugar to that if you're making the muffins, and that would be really good for a variety of different recipes. You can add in fruit or things like that, but really it's sugar to taste depending on how sweet you want your muffin or your quick cake to be. If you add in 1.5 cups mix to 2 cups of water, that's a stiff batter, like what I used for my waffles. Now, I didn't add any sugar in it because I knew my waffles were going to be savory. It was going to be mushroom gravy with a fried egg on top, and so I didn't add any sugar to that. In fact, I could have added some black pepper to those waffles and incorporated more of that country gravy style flavor into the waffle. But definitely, if I were making pancakes, I'd add some sugar to that because I like my pancakes sweet. You can also do fry dough, where you don't add any sugar to the dough for when you're frying it, but then you dust it with sugar, maybe powdered sugar or cinnamon sugar at the end. And last, you can do 1.5 cups mix to 2.5 cups water, sugar, salt, or spice to taste. And then you're going to have a loose batter. That's good for Swedish pancakes, batter fried chicken or fish, or if you want to make it a little bit sweet, you can make a churro sort of style fry bread with it. So those are the different levels. Each time you're just increasing by 1/2 cup of water to 1.5 cups of mix. You can go slower than that if you wanted to add in a 1/4 cup of water and kind of find your own mix. When I use this with a cornbread, with a cornmeal and all-purpose flour mix, I find that the cornmeal
does require more liquid. So what might be a loose batter, if it was all-purpose flour, will be a stiff batter if it's got all-purpose flour with the cornmeal. So if I want cornmeal pancakes, I'm going to need to have that 2.5 cups water. Otherwise, it will just be too dry to make it happen. So those were all the proportions. In the background, I've just been showing you the waffles that I made. I've had it on time-lapse speed because it takes a long time to make tasty waffles. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please copy down the recipe and copy down all the proportions. They are here at the end. And I hope you have a great day. Get out there, try something new, be safe, and have fun.